Alistair, what is your vision of agility? And that starts with what is agility?
So, okay, I want to come back to this thing because it's very important that we had a group of people in the room who had been working for 10 years or more in whatever way they worked. So when you do that and you try to boil that down to one word, and then people take the one word and they examine it, from all corners as to what does this word mean, and they look at all the dictionaries, you don't get back to the original experience that created it.
And that's why you are here, Alistair.
All right.
We want to understand.
Yeah, but
to know.
but we're focusing on the word agility, and people, even like me, say we're focusing too much on the word agility. And for me, it's more interesting to talk about what's effective. And if you say what's effective, you get a bunch of things that are true, and then you find that if you look at the Agile Manifesto, it's a short form description that gets you pretty close to a bunch of things that are effective a lot of the time. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for people like me, and I could pick other people who are writing the Agile Manifesto, we don't want to spend the time on the word agility. We want to talk about what's effective. And so we were able to encode, I think quite luckily. So if we take a look at the 4 values of the manifesto, we picked out 4 things. So there are probably 200 important things to keep in mind on any project or in any company. But you can't operate with 200 things in your head. So if you were to get groups of people and you say, pick 3, 4, or 5 things that are so important, you would try to run your project absolutely from these 3, 4, or 5 things. In fact, you might try to run every project from these 3, 4, or 5 things. What would they be? We picked 4. We picked pay attention to the people, get the feedback from the running code, collaborate with your customers, and respond to the changing world around you. From those 4, we claimed we could do pretty well in most circumstances. And I think that's pretty close to true. So now if we say, what is agility? I kind of don't care. If we say, do those 4 values stand up after 14 years as a good center 4? Yeah, they've stood up really, really well for a good center 4. So I'm less interested in this question, what's agility, than what's effective. The Agile Manifesto lists some stuff. It's the best starter kit that I've seen.
Including the 12 practices.
Including the 12 practices. Now, here's a note about the writing of the manifesto. That we easily agreed on the word agility, agile, that was fine. We actually, in very short time, in a matter of hours, wrote the entire front page of the manifesto with the values and debated every single word on there and had 100% unanimous agreement. But each time we said, well, that isn't saying very much. Can you go deeper? Can you be more specific? And at some point we started to have disagreements because, in fact, we don't agree on everything. We have our own methods, we have our own styles, our own personalities. So we actually disagree on a moment-to-moment basis on a lot of things. So as you dig down and you get more detailed, so in the 12 principles, we started to have disagreements. Also, we were running out of time. People were getting on planes and stuff like that.
I can imagine. You were 12 people?
17.
17. And I suppose you
amazing.
Don't know each other very well.
No. Some of us never met before.
And how did you work? You were in a single room and then...
Yeah, just a room like this. And I'll give you an example. So we've met once, we've got back together once. Since then, not all 17, but in 2011 for a 10-year anniversary, we got back together. And we tried to remember what happened, but it was so fluid, with so much goodwill that everybody was contributing that it was hard to... None of us could remember who said what and who proposed what. But I'll give you an idea of my memory of how it started. So we said, okay, we're going to be here today. Okay, the 17 people, let's get in a circle. So how do we create an agenda? Right, you get 17 people, and you got all the loudmouths and pundits and experts in there.
And you have to align
Everybody has to create an agenda. So we're sitting around, and one of the XP guys, they always have index cards in their pocket in those days. So one of the XP guys pulls out his stack of index cards, and so he says, just write it on a card. And he writes down something and throws it in the center of the circle. And of course, all the other XP people reach in their pockets and pull out their cards and start writing stuff, and they throw it in the center. And the non-XP people go, can I have some index cards, please? No, thanks very much. No, that's what I said. You don't have to do it.
Okay.
No. So we'd write, and so we'd throw all the stuff down. So there's pile of cards in the middle. We do that for a bit, and then someone says, "See, I can't." We don't know who says anything, right? Then someone says, "How do we make an agenda from that?" And then someone says, "Oh, well, anybody who cares makes an agenda, and anybody who doesn't care takes a coffee break." So since I don't care, I took a coffee break, and I came back, and the whole thing was scotch taped on the wall. Since I didn't care, I trusted the people. I didn't look at it. Then some while later, maybe an hour or so later, somebody says, "How do we make a change? I want to add something to the agenda. How do we do that?" And somebody says, "Well, just go put it up there." And he looked around like, "Am I allowed to do that?" And then he went up, and nobody knows what he added or where he added it. He just put it on the agenda. But you see, when you start like that, you see the level of collaboration and politeness and listening there. It's unheard of. Nobody tried to hijack it at any time. So that's how we got through it. But what I wanted to say about the 12 principles, though, was we started to disagree, and we couldn't get alignment. And as you get more detailed about how to run projects, we would for sure disagree. So I think that each of us has one or two principles that we actually don't like very much. And I can tell you which ones I don't like very much.
Into
but
the
I
12.
think out of the 12. So I think it would be interesting every time you get a chance to ask somebody of one of the authors of the Agile Manifesto, which principle is the one that gives you the most heartache? And just collect from the different people what theirs is.
You know what? I will keep this question for the next
Yeah,
Master of
excellent.
Agility.
So I'll tell you mine. It's the late breaking requirements. We welcome change even late in the project. No, I don't. I don't welcome. I don't welcome change. I don't want change. I really would like it if the things would just stay still. Okay.
Yeah.
And the emergent design gives me heartache also. But we do this stuff because we recognize that we'll be getting. But I don't welcome them. And I'm not a big fan of the emergent design thing myself. So those are the two principles that give me some heartache. Anyway, what else you got?
Great. Let's take a traditional question that is asked by company who start into Agile. I am Agile. No, you're not. You're waterfall. But okay, what is being Agile?
But since I don't care, I can't answer the question. And furthermore, most of the people who wrote the manifesto would refuse to answer that question. It's a standard answer from us. Are you being Agile or not? Don't care. Are you being efficient or not? I care. Now, what is it that's making you efficient, non-efficient? Let's take a look at that, okay? So if someone says waterfall is bad, I don't know. Your waterfall, therefore you're bad? I can't accept that. Agile's good, waterfall's bad, I can't accept that. This company's good or bad because it's Agile or I can't accept that. All you talk about is how are you doing and what do you want to change? How you want to change? How's it working for you?
Okay, great. I think this question was probably helpful for a lot of people because I know this argument.
Actually, I realized that you probably planted that question just to get that answer. You didn't actually expect to get it. Well, let me answer the question about Agile organizations. No, in fact, the answer you needed to get is stop asking that question.
And understood.
Yeah, you could have planted that question just to get that response.
This is the purpose.
Very good.
Voilà.
Okay.
This was the purpose.